your host, Laurentia. And today we have a very special guest, Miss Beverly Adeze, in the house, in the building. So we are delving into her journey, all things content creation, her hair journey. So stay tuned and see. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing very good, very good. So today is going to be very exciting. We're going to learn all about her growing up and just her success up till now. So we'll just start off with this. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name is Beverly, and I am a hairstylist / content creator. I'm from Houston, Texas. I love to laugh. I just love connecting with people, and I love all things humor, and I'm just grateful for what God is doing.
Amen. I love that. I love that. So let's talk about growing up, where you're from, how you ended up here, or if you were born here or whatnot. Okay. So I know we're all foreigners, but
I know. So growing up, I was actually born in Lagos, Nigeria. And then I came to America when I was about 7 years old. And so when I came, my mom actually won the visa lottery. And we came over at 7 years old, and we lived in Dallas for about a year. And we moved to Houston. So I've pretty much just been in Houston ever since. Houston is Nigeria 2.0. So yeah.
Gotcha. It's a lot of Nigerians in Houston, huh?
Yes.
Awesome. So you've always just been in Houston. Have you moved to any other city apart from Houston and Texas?
So for undergrad, I went to Texas Tech, which is in it's in Texas, but it's in Lubbock, Texas, which is about 8 hours away. Okay. So I lived there for about 4 years. Yeah. I lived there for about 4 years.
Wow.
It's very big. Yeah. It's very big. And then also, well, this is little, but I studied abroad in Spain for about 3 months. So that's not huge. But yeah, for the most part, I've been in Houston.
Wow. That's awesome. That's awesome. So do you remember growing up in Nigeria at all?
I do, actually. I remember my relatives.
How old were you when you came?
7.
So, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it was just good enough for me to remember just, little bits and pieces. I remember the village. I love the village. I love spending time with my grandma and just little tidbits about Lagos. So I try to go back as often as I can. I'm on at least every 3 years. If I can do more in between, I will, but I try not to go more than 3 years without going back.
Yeah, that's really good. So all of your family's here, or you go back and visit, like as far as your immediate family?
My parents and my little brother are here, but everybody else is in Nigeria. My cousins are in Nigeria, my aunties, everyone is in Nigeria.
Wow. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. So I know you mentioned college and everything, but so let's delve into career life. When you were growing up, what did you aspire to be?
When I was growing up, I aspired to be an OBGYN. That was what I wanted to do. I thought I wanted to deliver babies and just different things. It's so crazy because I had this scenario. I was like, maybe one day, there will be a pregnant woman trapped in an elevator, and then something happens, and then I have to, and then I have to use the knowledge that I've gotten from YouTube to help deliver her baby, and then John Hopkins will give me a full ride scholarship. That's what I was thinking. Don't mind me. But then just as time went on, I realized, I was like, is this really what I want, or is it out of the 3 options that my parents gave me, it's the one that, just kind of piqued my interest more. And then it wasn't until the summer before my senior year in college, this was when I was about to go to Europe to study abroad. And one of my friends was like, you know what? I always hear you talking about, you say you want to do this, you say you want to go the medical route, but I feel like you're more into beauty and you're more into this industry.
And you said who?
And so one of my friends, one of my good friends. Yeah. You're my girl. So she has sense. She has sense.
And so what are you? Are you Yoruba?
I'm Igbo.
Igbo. Gotcha.
Yeah. So, and honestly, she said it at the perfect time because it gave me time to think. She said that right before I went over to Spain. And so when I was in Spain, my parents weren't around. It was just me by myself, right? It was me and God. And, it just gave me time to think about, okay, what do I really want to do?
Yeah.
And so when I came back, or when I was in Spain, I decided, you know what, I'm just going to go and just, get licensed as a stylist and just build my business from there. And so when I came back, that's when I made the decision. Yep. And so my parents were not having it, but I came back, graduated. And as soon as I graduated, I think a month after, I went straight to, get my license. I did my 1,500 hours, worked in just a few salons. Then I opened up my business. And so, yeah, it's been good. African parents, they don't really They don't care about your vision. They want to see the money, you know. And so
That's it. That's it. So what was your
mhm.
major in college?
My major was sociology, but I was also taking like, you know, the pre-med courses, anatomy, physiology, biology, all those things. And then my minor was also Spanish, which is why I love Spanish speaking countries. And so,
Mm.
yeah.
So you speak
Mhm.
Spanish fluently?
Not as
Yeah.
fluently as I would like to, but
Yeah.
I'm actually I have a Spanish tutor. And so I'm going to
Mhm.
give myself a year to just literally dive into Spanish, like just head on and just immerse myself with the Spanish language because it's important to me. I want to be fluent. And I
Yeah.
noticed the difference between how how I was able to speak better Spanish while in Spain. And
Mhm.
so I'm a goal oriented person. So if I want to do something, I'm like, no, I'm going to do it.
You're
I want
gonna
to
do
learn
it.
Spanish.
Exactly.
I'm going to learn it. So yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So tell me about, so right now we're done with college and we're approaching
Mhm.
the hair industry.
Yeah.
What's the next step? What do you do next?
I literally just opened my business and just start working. And now if you're gearing towards how I got started with, just content and stuff,
Mhm.
while I was in college, I was involved in the African Student Organization. And we would
Okay.
put together like, little plays and things like that. So I would just kind of do that for fun. And after I started my business, I just decided, you know what? I had this one video idea and I was just like, should I post it? I don't know if I should post it. And I talked to my friends. I was like, is this funny? Because if it's not funny, tell me. Like, don't lie to me,
Mm. Why
And
does
so they're
every
like,
comedian do that? They always send it
really?
to someone, like a
Oh, I
close
had
friend
to.
to,
Like
yeah.
12 of them. I sent it to like 12 people because I'm like,
Wow.
listen, y'all tell me the truth. Because it was just a fun idea. To be honest with you, I did not know. If you would have told me that my social media would be doing numbers like this, I didn't know. I just thought it was funny. And I was like, oh, let me just post. And I think the reason I decided to post was I realized, so I have, two different pages. I have my business page and I have my personal page. And I realized that I was focusing so much on my hair page and growing my business, which is fine. But I realized that, well, I'm not just about that. Like they're different, you know what I'm saying? I'm multifaceted. So let
Yeah.
me just, focus. I didn't post on my personal page for like a whole year. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna just use my other gifts and just do both. And so I posted it and it did well. And I just kept getting ideas and just random things. And I was like, you know what? I'll share this experience. And I started to realize that people would relate. They'd be like, wow, like do we all
Mhm.
have the same mom, And so that was, yeah. So
Wow.
here I was, running my business and then also trying to put out content as well. So
Also, you did both well, you still do both, right?
I still do both.
Okay.
Actually, next week is my last week. I'm retiring from the hair game.
What?
And yes, I'm moving on to
For
bigger.
what?
It's a different season. It's a different season. Now, of course, I've been doing hair since I was 11 years old. I love color. I love natural hair, but it's a different season and I want to just kind of simplify my life.
Mhm.
And I'm realizing that content, it takes a lot of time,
Yeah.
and there's so many things that I want to do with it. And I'm realizing I have too much on my plate, even when you were contacting me, see how long it even took me to apply, please
Yeah.
forgive me. But I'm realizing I don't like being so busy that I'm just overwhelmed. I like to be productive. I don't like to be just busy and all over the place.
Yeah.
So me retiring from that is just kind of me simplifying my life and just walking into a new season. So yes,
Wow.
next week is my last week and I'm closing it out.
Oh my goodness. So you
Yeah.
were working within the salon or you had your own suite or
I
how
have
did
my own
it work?
suite. I have my own personal suite. Yeah.
Wow.
Mhm.
So did you sell the business or you just kind of ended your lease and that
Yeah.
was it?
Just ending my lease and just pretty much shutting down. I will be doing some virtual recordings to kind of help stylists. So virtual classes.
Oh, that's smart.
And I
Oh,
think,
that's
right.
smart. Yeah.
hmm And so right now, my focus is going to shift from being behind the chair to helping other stylists behind the chair grow their business and also self care behind the chair. Because as a hairstylist, it can be very taxing.
I
And
bet.
so a lot of times people don't even know to take lunches. I've gone
Oh,
a full day without even just getting a few snacks. And I'm like, that's not healthy.
yeah.
And that's the easiest way to cause burnout. So if you want to stay in this industry and enjoy it, you have to take care of yourself. So that's what I'm going to gear my business content towards.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. How long
hmm
did you do hair? Well, within as far as like business wise, like I know you said you started at 11, but like how
Yeah.
long have you had it as a business?
So licensed, I've only been licensed for 4 years. People think I've been licensed for longer.
So you
But
moved really
I learned pretty
fast.
quick. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I learned. I'm Hair is something I get just pretty naturally, but I also practice a lot. Now, business wise, when I close next week, it'll be a year and a half.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, it'll be a year and a half. And I was just, I just have other goals that I need to work on. I'm like, you know what? I'm only one person, and there's no way I can give 100% in this area and this area equally.
Yeah.
Some people can do it. Listen, if that's you, kudos to you. But I know for me, it's just best to focus on one thing, perfect it, and then you can move on to the next thing.
Exactly. And I'm so glad you brought up that, because it's like sometimes within the African community or the youth community, we bash so much on when people are doing several things at once just so that they can figure out what they're really good at or what they want to do. So that's really good. You delved into everything that you're passionate about or that you're good at.
Right.
And now you found the one path that you want to keep going on. Kudos to you.
And you know what? This is not saying that just producing, comedic content is going to be it for it. May be, it may not be. I don't know.
Right.
I believe we have seasons.
Exactly.
And so me leaving the hair industry does not mean that I don't like doing hair. I'm gonna still work on my mannequins. I still love it. I'm gonna put the wigs out, whatever. But there may be a season where I just, even after producing all this comedic content, I may be like, you know what, I just want to just kind of chill and raise kids for like 2 years. And the next time I may be like, I want to start this business for I don't feel like I need to be in a box.
Sky's the limit. Yeah.
Exactly. But I do believe it's wise if you're going to, kind of put your hands in different things. If you really want, it may be wise to focus more on one thing, perfect that, and then move on to the next thing. Instead of trying to give everything your all, at the same time. One area is going to suffer. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's smart. Wow, nice. Yeah. So now we're going complete into content creation, right? Yeah. So
for this season, yeah.
Yeah, in this season. Yeah. I like that. So what was your biggest mistake, or what did you feel like it would have benefited you more if you knew before starting?
You mean in terms of my hair business or content?
Content creation, yeah.
So it's really interesting because, like I said, my goal for when I started this about a year ago, it wasn't I want to be this person that's known and I will just do this because I thought it was funny. Maybe somebody else will laugh too. If you laugh, that's your business. If you don't laugh, that's your own business. But once I realized that my page started to kind of pick up traffic, I felt like, man, I could have been monetizing this, way back then.
Yeah.
And so I kind of beat myself up a little bit, but then I realized, I'm like, you know what, girl, show yourself some grace. Don't be so hard on yourself. Okay, there are people that are making money from content. Maybe they only have 3,000 followers, 4,000. That's cool. Yeah. But I realized that now, okay, maybe I didn't start early, but now I get to be picky. Mm-hmm. Now, like those content creators, they may be just taking crumbs because they're just trying to get out there and they're just trying to please people. Now I have a following to where I choose who I work with. I'm not taking crumbs from anyone. I'm not just trying to scrape up anything. Oh, look at me. People, brands are selling me stuff. I'm like, no, if it does not align with the brand, I don't care. I can truly say that I've never done promotion for free, because even when I didn't have all these companies to kind of back me up, they knew what my engagement was like, and they knew that people would tune in. And so I got to be picky, but in a good way. I'm like, as long as it lines up with the brand and as long as I can think of something genuinely funny, I'll put it out there. So I would say showing myself a little bit more grace. Like I said, I just kind of happened to walk into this thing. That was never my intention. So
yeah. Wow. So you talk about brands and everything, but how is the collaboration process? Like, so say if somebody wanted to connect with you as far as a collaboration, what would be your ideal client, I guess, or what you say? I remember, I know you mentioned like if it's right for the brand or if it aligns with the brand. So talk in terms of that.
So if a brand reaches out to me first, they'll say, hey, this is my product line and I would love to, to pay you to advertise. So I'll look at their brand and I'll see what they have on their website, what they kind of stand for. And then because a lot of times now people want videos because they see that humor reaches more.
Yep.
And so I tell them, if I cannot come up with a genuinely funny concept for your brand, I won't take your money. Maybe I'll star your email and just kind of think about it for a while. And if I get something, then I'll reach back out to you. But I always want to make sure that my content it's original and it's genuine and it's me. And I have a saying where I don't force the funny. If it's not something that I would say,
I think that's why you're funny, because you don't force it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't force it. It's not that, for me, I'm not dying to be like, oh, please, somebody, give me money I'm good. And another thing too is I like to make, I love clients that allow me to just be creative,
Yeah.
you know, because I don't want someone telling me, okay, do it like this, do it like that, do it like that. Well, that's not me. And
Mhm.
if you're coming on here, if you want me to showcase on my platform, you have to trust that I'm going to put my best foot forward and do it in a way that's authentically me.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna make sure I do my best with your product, of course.
Mhm.
So I would say
Yeah.
that is an ideal client. Yeah.
Wow, that's neat.
Mhm.
So, what would you prefer, like the collaborations and you're like making videos off of that, or you coming up with like your own? Do you feel like the collabs give you like a subject to talk about, or does it come easier that way, or you like to like come up with your own from inspiration from anywhere?
Yeah, I have a notepad just full of stuff that, I'll just get an idea and I'll write it down.
What?
Yeah. And so for me, that one is a little more authentic. Now, from the
Mhm.
collab, sometimes I will, get a great idea. And sometimes, to be honest, you can even kill two birds with one stone. So if I have a skit that is kind of hair based already, and I get a company that is trying to promote something that has to do with the hair
Yeah.
industry, I could put those two together in that skit.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think a lot of my inspiration comes from like TikToks and just random skits, just random
Yeah.
skits that I
Just
have written
random.
down. And so, and
Wow.
yeah, and sometimes when those brands do reach out, it kind of gives me something to play off of.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
See,
it
we
works
need to
out.
collaborate.
Yeah, it works out
That's
for sure.
dope. Yeah. So say if brands decide to collaborate with you, are you able to give us like a range? What is a number that they should be thinking about before they even approach you? Or like a range from the lowest or just any
Or,
like how does
well,
the charging work and everything?
like I said, I'm fairly new to this, right? And so for my social media, I'm learning as I go, but then also
Yeah.
as a businesswoman, I'm thinking, okay, how many hours am I putting into this? What value am I bringing to this company? So when I was doing research, like, oh my gosh, how much should I charge? A lot of influencers will base it on, okay, if they have like 100K, they'll charge 100, bucks for a post or something. But a
Yeah.
lot of times that is a picture post, right? So you think about a video, you think about the time that it takes to edit, you think about the time, and if they want me to do multiple characters, I charge for that
Yeah.
because
Oh, I
that's
see.
that's
Okay.
extra time. Yeah. And
Yeah.
so if it's a commentary where it's just me, it'll be a base price. But if it's more than one person and it's something that's going to get a little bit more traction, then I have to kind of put that in there. So I think it's good to have your base price and then you see what they're looking for and then you can add on to that. But I would say, listen, just think about what are you bringing to the table? What is your value? I don't think we should base it off of other people because some folks they may be charging 10K for a picture post and they feel like that's what they're worth and
Yep.
people
I've
are willing
definitely
to
heard
pay.
that. Yeah.
And so for me, I'm still trying to figure out, okay, how much time am I putting into this? And then also when I get the payment, is it worth it? Right? How much am I bringing to this company? And so
Yeah.
I'm still on the fence. I have my base prices, but
Yeah.
I'm still learning as I go.
Yeah. Well, that's good you said that though, because it is a value-based industry.
Yes.
So you charge according to whatever you value and stuff. I like that.
Right.
Yeah.
And as your following increases, your price increases.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Fortunately, unfortunately. Yeah, definitely.
You know,
So
it
with
is what it is.
let's talk more about content creation, right? So
Hmm.
what is, I guess, the formula with content creation? I know like with business owners. So say if they're creating content for their business, what is the formula or the path they have to go through to make sure that the content gets engagement and that it's successful?
So from what I'm learning, if I'm going to put out content, one, you want to make sure that the quality is there. You don't have to buy an expensive camera, but you want to make sure that, good quality, good lighting. And then something that's just you, right? You find your niche. And honestly, as a creative, like I said, I don't like being put in a box. So sometimes you are your niche, right? So I don't stick to just African content. I'll dibble and dabble in different things. And then once you post, you want to make sure that you're just engaging with the audience, not just looking at them as a number, but also engaging and also posting. I may not post every day, but when I post in my stories, that's another opportunity to engage with people so that when I do a story post, they're, you know, more likely to be receptive.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you're utilizing your hashtags and things like that. And also, I think a lot of times you'll see posts that say you need to be posting 5 times a day. You need to be posting on your Instagram feed
Right.
twice a day.
Yeah.
And to me, to each their own. I
Mhm.
have things to do. That's a lot, right? But sometimes
Hello.
if you kind of make people wait a little bit, it kind of builds anticipation. So
Yeah.
I'll post on my stories, little TikToks that I find. But then when you do a story post, it's kind of like they've been waiting for it. They value it more. They're like, oh my gosh, she posted something. And so they're more likely to engage and just engage with their audience in a genuine way. Like, don't sound so robotic. For me, I actually like to engage with people. And so I want it to be authentic, So
Yeah.
even if I have someone post for me, which I don't have yet, but I would still want to engage and I want it to be from me,
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
people can tell that. People can tell when you're
That
genuine.
personal.
So
Oh yeah.
yeah.
That's very true. Now, so what would you say is your favorite video so far, or your favorite collaboration that you did?
Oh my goodness.
I'm making you choose.
So, so I would say it's hard, but I think with the amount of work that has gone into this one and the creativity, I would say the therapy skit.
Therapy.
Therapy skit is funny because for me, it's not just, oh, Mama Agnes, and it's almost like what would happen, because our parents are so against therapy. What would happen if our parents were to go into this space of therapy? How would they react? And
Mhm.
so I would say that that's probably one of my favorite videos. And it's crazy. This is how I know that God has a sense of humor. I was just washing dishes one day and I just came up with that. And a lot of times when I come up with something, I'll keep it in my notepad. And then as time goes on, I'll add on little bits and pieces. And so
Yeah,
I think that was
that was the
that's
right
an original. Yeah. So that
No,
was probably
my
my favorite.
favorite one was, girl, I'm thinking
Which,
about it now. I'm laughing. The one with the mannequin head, and then
oh, oh Lord. And see,
that
people have
head
their favorites.
fell
I'm telling
off.
you,
Huh?
it's all about what you can relate to. And
I'm
there's some that people say, "Oh my gosh, that's my favorite." I'm like, "Really? Oh, okay." It's all about what people can relate to. And
I
so
was not expecting that. Like,
yeah,
I said, how did she come out with this? And then just
yeah,
the face that went with it, it was just so authentic.
yeah. No, that was
That was funny, man. You're
fun.
hilarious.
Yeah.
That's a gift you
Oh,
have.
thank you
God
so
bless
much.
it. Now let's go back to content creation, but now let's talk more about how do you monetize social media? I know brands are there, collaborations are there, but what are other ways that people can monetize from content creation?
So if you're on TikTok, TikTok has the Creators Fund.
Mm.
And so the Creators Fund actually paid you for like your views. Now it's not a whole lot, but it's a little something. I got some change in there. You know what I'm saying? So, talk to me nice. It's a humble change, but it's something.
Yeah.
And just brands, reaching out to you, paying for things. I mean, reaching out to you, sending you products, and then paying for actual posts. And some people do affiliation programs.
Mhm.
That's something that could work for you. For me, I like to just do paid posts. I don't want to just be in this binding contract with the company. For some
Right.
people, it works. For me, pay me for the posts. Come on, go. Let's keep it simple. And then also one thing I'm also trying to kind of dive more into is, of course, YouTube.
Mhm.
YouTube, and for you, podcasting and getting sponsors from ads. So that's pretty much one of the main ways that I know.
That's awesome. So with like everything that you've learned now within, content creation, your life, moving from college and doing hair, now you're on to the comedic route or the content creation route.
Right.
What would you say, or how important is to change your dreams or your passion or your purpose? Like, how would you say that has impacted your life? And then how important is it to go after it?
For me. So I'm 27. I'll be 28 next week. So walking into this new season as like my birthday gift, right? And I look at life as life is so short. It's
Mm,
long, but it's short. And so if there's something that I want to do, I make sure that I get it done. And I believe that sometimes God will put something in our hearts and it'll stay there. Like if we all know that there's this one thing that's just been within us for a while,
yeah.
and the thing is it really doesn't leave you. So you either take care of it and you work towards that goal or you live with
Mhm.
regret. because that thing is
Oh,
going to stay in you no matter what. So for me, I want to go the route of working towards it, because yes, going into a new season is scary, right? Because now as I'm pushing towards content, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to be, am I going to be able to make what I'm making in my business and more? But I won't know if I don't do it. If I don't take that risk, I'm not going to know. The same way I took that risk in putting out that first video, and look where content has, brought me. So I believe that this life is so short for us to just be in this one bubble, just following the same path. A lot of us have so many gifts, and the only reason we're not working towards it is because we're afraid. A lot of times, not only we're afraid of failure, but we're afraid of success. I struggle with both, because a lot of times you don't know, like, am I going to be able to handle this? Is it going to be too overwhelming for me?
Yeah.
And so I try to live a courageous life. Does not mean that I don't get scared about certain things, or I don't doubt myself. But I'm like, you know what? Me being courageous is me being scared, but I'm going to do it anyhow. My knees are buckling, but I'm going to put one foot in front of the other while my knees are buckling. And I'm going to do it because I fear regret more than I fear that actual thing.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and I also want to live a life that, by God's grace, my children, my grandchildren, can look back on and be like, you know what, my mom, my grandma, she set out to do this. She said she was going to travel, and she did it, and she stepped out of her comfort zone. So I also think about that, and also for my parents too. And sometimes, we think about the future, but what about the people around you? Our parents, they may not say it. They're not going to say it. They're not going to say, oh, I'm proud of you, but they're out there watching. And they're honestly being inspired by some of the things that we do. So I think about that as well.
That's very important. I'm glad you said about some people are scared of success. Like, I was just thinking about that. So what's it called? I make feather fans for weddings and stuff. And I launched my website beginning of this month. And I was talking to my assistant. I was like, we were deciding like how much we can sell for the first month. And we sat there and made this whole plan. And we're like, are we even at capacity to, if I'm praying that this is what I want from God, do I have enough inventory? Do I have enough time? So it's like, sometimes you really have to be realistic with yourself, right? And hey, okay, this prayer makes sense, and this one does not too. And one other thing that I've seen too is growing too fast. That can kill a business just as going too slow or whatnot. So that was a very good point.
Yeah,
that was a very good point
true.
that you brought up.
That's very true.
But what would you say that you had to sacrifice? Like, can you think of anything that maybe you had to give up to be successful in content creation or your business?
I would say, which is probably the reason why I'm trying to simplify my life right now, but really quality time. My brother's 13.
I knew you were going to say
that. Quality time, we're just spending with family. And so that has been a little bit of a sacrifice. I would even say that one of my other goals that's not hair related, not content related, I've kind of had to put that on the back burner because I've been so overwhelmed. And so now I'm like, you know what, let me just keep things simple and just, work on these things. But yeah, those are the things I would say that I've sacrificed, which is not good, because, your family's always, your family's not always going to be here. So you want to make sure that you're spending time with them as much as possible. For sure.
That's very important. But I feel like every business owner, though, you kind of go through that a little bit, because as you said, like, you can't, and it's sad, but that's your time, right? You can't divide it too much. Or one will always, have more than the other or whatnot.
Right. And I would even say that I spent like my early 20s, right after college, like those few years, just working. I worked at Whole Foods, and I was in cosmetology school, and I was doing hair, working at the salon, and I didn't really take time to socialize as much and like go on simple things, like just, go on dates, So now, beginning of 2020, I was like, oh my goodness, I need to like, just go on like just casual dates, get to know the people. Then Corona came. So I'm like, wow.
Don't blame it on Corona, okay? Virtual dates.
I'm telling you, it's not the same, but now it's just harder. So.
Exactly. Yeah. Wow. Who was our Mr. now? Let's talk about our Mr.
It's Mr. Jesus, because there's no Mr. There's no Mr., my dear.
No, Mr. He's still on his way. He's still driving.
So. I'm telling you, whether he's crawling, I don't know. He's taking too much time.
He might be. It's taking too long, huh?
Yeah. No. But it's cool. Listen, I tell people at this point, I'm ready to form a genuine friendship that could possibly
Get there,
lead
yeah.
to, yeah. I'm not rushing, but you wanna shine your eyes because there's so
Mhm.
many things. I have to travel different places. So we can form a friendship and we will see. We will see if
Travel
it can go
together,
that way.
there we go.
Yeah.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
So what
I'll
would
travel
you
with my husband though. I want to travel with the boyfriend. I'm my husband.
man, the worst thing is you see the pictures on Instagram and you're just
Yeah.
like, "Man."
No, I have some. I
Yeah.
actually, it's funny. I have a goal of doing 20 countries in my 20s. And so
Wow.
I have, yeah, that's why with me like letting go of my business, I'm able to travel more. So I'm
Mhm.
like, I gotta knock out these countries. I
Yeah.
want to do some by myself and then some with friends.
Mhm.
So when I get
How
married,
many
then I'll travel with him.
how many are you at now?
I should be at 11, 10 or 11, one of
Girl!
those.
Oh,
And
you're
so
definitely gonna
I'm
do
gonna
it.
be 28. So I'm like, dang, I have 2 years to knock this out. So I need to get it done.
You can do it.
So
It's
yeah, I'm
possible.
doing
5
Ghana is gonna be number 12,
What?
11 or
You're
12.
going to
Mhm.
Ghana?
Yeah.
Oh, that is so
Yeah,
exciting.
I know. I'm
Yes,
excited.
girl. Go eat some watch it. Listen.
Yeah. I'm excited. I'm excited.
That is so exciting. Wow.
Yeah.
That's good to hear. But so let's delve more into so what's the next steps for you? Like what do you have planned coming up or yeah, just your next step.
So really putting out more content, like I said, and then YouTube. So it's funny because you would think that because I record, and put on Instagram that YouTube would be easier, but I think it's a little harder. And I
Mhm.
actually, for some reason, it's easier to play Mama Agnes or whatever. But on YouTube, I actually want to be more transparent. Not that I'm putting my business out there, but more
Yeah.
transparent, and I'll be traveling a little bit more. So I do want to document the journey and just kind of, help others with traveling tips and things like that. So YouTube is an area that I'm like, I need to just go ahead and do it, which is
Just
weird
do
because
it.
right
Okay,
now
good.
all I'm
Just do it.
all I'm doing is putting my stuff that's on Instagram on YouTube. But I would actually love to, just talk to the camera and talk as me, be
Yeah.
myself. And then also starting a podcast as well. And so these are literally that's all I'm going to be focusing on while I
Yeah.
travel and knock out these countries. So,
Yeah.
and I'm coming out with my shirts for my birthday. So, some merch. I'll put out some merch soon. So,
What? That's awesome. Some
mm.
merchandise coming out on your birthday. And when's your birthday?
April 26th.
April 26th. Gotcha.
Yeah, but see, it may not even be out right on that day, but I'll probably put it out like a week and a half after, and hopefully I can combine it with celebrating 100K, and then maybe do
Wow.
like a giveaway. That's what I'm
There we
thinking.
go. That's
I
it.
didn't know 100K will come this soon, though, my sister.
It's just a blessing. Hey, you
So
and you have the gift. People want to
yeah,
laugh, okay?
yeah, it's
We go
true.
through
We need
enough in
it.
our personal life. Sometimes
Yeah,
we just want to laugh, and you're creating that. You're
yeah.
creating that space. So thank you for that. Using your
You're
purpose.
welcome. It's an honor because sometimes I'm like, wow, y'all just be laughing at like it's like I think it's a little funny, but the way people be reacting, I'm like, go, God,
It's
it's
just
you.
your face, like the way you get it so perfectly.
Yeah, I know.
The African parents, I'm like, did you go
I,
study like African parents?
I have anti-expression. I'm telling you.
I'm like, wow. Well,
I
that's
do it so well that people forget that I'm like I'm not. They think that I'm like an actual auntie. I'm like, no, I'm still in my 20s.
right, right, right. That's
So,
awesome. But so what would you say would be your end goal? Like with everything going on, like in the next 5 years, what do you expect from yourself or where do you want to go to?
whew, child. Oh
Or
my
who do you want to
goodness.
work with?
Who do I want to work with? I would love to work with him on stage. Yeah, I think he's pretty cool. I see myself doing a little bit of like an SNL type stuff, you
Yeah.
know. I think I could see myself doing that. But man, it's crazy because my sister, I don't know if God wants to put me inside film. Put me inside
Ooh.
film or I'm here. But it's crazy because I'm not one of those people that's like, oh my goodness, Tyler Perry, look at me, look at me. I need to be in
Yeah.
this. I think I just kind of have that confidence that it's going to happen in due time,
Mhm.
whatever, however, God wants it to happen. So I'm at this point, I'm not really tripping. I'm just like, you know what, let me just keep putting out content and I'm going to be myself.
Yeah.
And I also noticed that fear of, well, the pressure of that, the fears of success comes a lot of times when people are like, oh my goodness, you made it to this room, you made it to this, girl, you're gonna be famous, girl, remember me when you get big, you're gonna be this. And for me, I'm like I get it, and I'm grateful, but that's a lot of it. It makes me a little anxious,
It's a
because
lot, yeah.
that fear of success, like, oh my gosh, am I gonna be able to handle this? I don't know. I'm like, listen, y'all, I'm just putting out content. And
Wow.
wherever God wants to take it is where God will take it.
Yeah.
Don't put that pressure on me.
No pressure, no pressure.
Yeah.
But when you said Tyler Perry, I'm like, oh my gosh, that would be perfect. But no pressure,
Uh,
no pressure.
yeah. But my only thing is, though, if I ever make it into a Hollywood film or whatever, one, I don't see myself just because Hollywood is a little weird, there's some crackheads over there, you know what I'm saying? So
Girl, we get
if
Whew.
if God decides to, use me in that area, let it be a film that, nothing raunchy, nothing that'll cause me to, because I want to stick with my convictions. I don't want to do anything that I don't agree with. And so if I'm doing this for God, then, let it be something that, is God glorified. It doesn't mean that everything has to be like, oh, Father Abraham movie, but there are some good shows that are just wholesome. And
Yeah,
they're still good, whether they're funny or, as long as it's
absolutely.
something
Yeah,
wholesome.
yeah.
And I think of Leticia Wright from Black Panther,
Black Panther.
and she does, I haven't seen all her movies, but from what I've seen, she does things that are still great films, but she's not wavering. Like it's, she's still sticking by her convictions from what I've seen. I don't know all her movies.
Left boob showing off
Right, right.
boobs and getting naked.
No, please,
Yeah, I
no,
feel you.
no, no, no Socializing scene. I don't want to do this. It's okay.
None of that.
It's okay.
Your
None of
mom and
that.
dad gonna be watching you.
No, no, I can't do that one. It's not for me. It's not for me. It's
Exactly.
okay.
Exactly. That's
So
very
as long as it's wholesome and it's something that that I wouldn't be ashamed to show my parents
Mhm.
and my family members, I can do it.
I love that. I love that. And
Yeah.
self-respect too. You just hey, nothing
Yeah.
against the people that do that those movies,
Right.
but just
It's
not
not for me.
for
And
it.
I'm not dying to be in, nobody's movie. If it comes, it comes. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And
Yeah,
so
you're fine where
yeah.
you are. I feel you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, Miss Beverly, do you have any last words for the people?
What do I have?
What advice would you have for someone getting into content creation or
So I always like to tell people, honestly, just be yourself. Be yourself and create content that's originally you. Because a lot of times I'll see people, people will even ask like, "Oh my gosh, how did you grow your following? How did you do this?" I'm just like, I don't know, girl. I just put out stuff, and you be yourself. And I don't really focus on the numbers, even though I'm grateful for 100K. I don't put so much weight on that. My value is not found in, on how many followers I have or whatever. I'm just using my gift.
yeah.
And I think once you realize that, okay, you're not doing this for other people to like you, you're doing it because you want to see them laugh, but you're using your gift and you're being authentically you. I think at some point something is going to stick, right? And you're going to do well because people can tell when you're genuine and people can tell when you're authentic. So
Yeah.
my thing is just be yourself. Don't compare yourself to anybody else. I know social media tries to get us to, get us to do that, but I'm like, listen, I'm myself. And everybody's not going to like it, and I'm okay with that. And I also create boundaries with social media because people forget, and this is another thing. I tell them this is not my comedy page, this is my personal page. So I'll share bits and pieces of my life. And of course, I'll throw in, funny comedic videos that share my experience. But I create that boundary because if not, people will put you in a box to the point where they feel like they own you. And they feel like if you want to put out a cute picture, they're like, you didn't put out a skit today. I need you to put out an African mom skit and stuff like that. And you'd be surprised. Like I've had people tell me, you need to react to this, do a video like this. They've even written me scripts, and they want me to like act it out. And I'm just like, I don't let anybody dictate what I post and I do not post on my social media.
Absolutely.
Wow. And I think when you're so hungry for followers and you're so hungry for likes, you will let people get to you and you feel like, oh my gosh, I need to, appease my followers and post what they want to see. And I'm like, oh no, we don't do that over here. I post what I want to post, and just for your mental health too, so just be yourself, be genuinely you and go your own way. That's it.
I love that point of view. That's very true. Social media can literally consume your entire life, control you, everything.
Exactly.
I love
That's so
that.
true.
Very true.
Yes,
Well, Miss
ma'am.
Beverly, thank you so much.
I appreciate you being so patient.
Of course, of course.
So
You have been an
thank you so much.
inspiration. Your story is
Oh,
amazing. And
thank you.
I'm following your journey. I can't wait to see what you have put out in the next 1 year, 2 year, just the door
Yeah.
to open for you. I'm
Yeah.
excited.
Amen.
Okay.
Amen.
Definitely a pleasure talking to you. Thank you. Thank you. And you have a great day.
You too. Thank you.